So I don't feel like making a drink right now, so or setting up the two camera thing.
It's totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. All right. Well, and I got the Oscar list here. We can talk about this a little bit, but we do have quite a bit of time, about a full month or so, till we really need to get serious about it, which I have some plans. I want to do some fun things with that when we get closer to it.
Cool.
But I figured we could do sort of a kind of talk about best and worst of the year.
Best and worst as far as movies,
Yeah.
or just anything in general?
Well, I mean,
because there's quite a bit of that.
If you want to go there, sure, but I was thinking movies.
Okay.
It is, perhaps a bit later than some people release their lists, but
Better late than never.
it's still January. It
Yeah.
still counts. We can talk about 2017.
Well, it's a good thing I made a top 10 list for both.
All right. Well,
Look
I
at
think
you.
you're going to be carrying this conversation.
I really think you will. I haven't even begun to think about what I liked during 2017.
Yeah, I thought about that relatively hard.
Braxton, did you see any movies in 2017?
Yeah.
Okay.
She went to the theater with him in 2017.
Yeah, okay. A couple of
No,
times.
so the only times I went to the theater. Or to my own. Okay, never mind. That's kind of a lot.
So I guess starting with let's see. Yeah, my favorite, number 10 is Get Out,
Okay.
which I really enjoyed, but I didn't really, I don't know, in looking through my IMDb ratings, it was the highest rated one of the, I believe I gave it an 8. I don't know. I'm a little weirded out that it made it into my top 10, because it was a good movie. I thought it was overrated.
Yeah.
I did not think it was the big revelation that people, I don't know.
I just don't want Blumhouse to get credibility.
Well, Blumhouse has already done some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
They've
I
been
know.
hit and miss. When they're bad, they're really bad. When they're good, they're really
And
good.
unfortunately, the whole thing with Blumhouse, too, they like to manipulate endings to fit the general trend of the audience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their movies, when they were first aired at, like, Sundance or anything, or film festivals, before they were picked out by Blumhouse, usually tended to be very good and very highly praised by the audience that saw it. However, it is until later that they try to meet the trend with the jump scares and all this other stuff at the end of everything. Everything.
Yeah, Blumhouse is kind of, I don't know, is there a time that Blumhouse was not the jump scare machine that it is now?
You know what?
They pretty much always.
They always have been. I think that's kind of what they're. Well, except for Gem and the Holograms.
Well,
Their
That's true.
whole
They have a
thing
random-
is trying to make movies on as tight a budget as they possibly can, and they cut corners by they can pay actors less if they don't have speaking roles. So you'll notice that generally only the main actors really speak. Anyone in the background, even like waiters in scenes, won't have any lines, because if that waiter had a line, they'd have to pay more to the actor. So they cut as much as they can anywhere they can. Their philosophy is tell, don't show. If they can say that this event happened without having to actually stage it, that saves them a whole bunch of money.
Right, and I think a lot of horror movies, they like to do the whole tell, don't show. Ever since I even say before that, but before Blair Witch Project, because you didn't ever see the thing that was chasing them, or how do we even know that it was actually a thing?
Oh, they weren't
chasing
being
them?
chased by anything. They were just dumbasses.
Well, and I've heard one theory that perhaps they weren't dumbasses. Perhaps they intended to go out and kill the chick. That was their whole plan, was to make everything
to get rid of Heather Donahue.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have heard that theory.
I think
and
it's kinda neat.
like it. I like it a lot. I don't think it's true in any way. But
No, but I think it's a pretty good one. I kind of wish
it's entertaining. That's the
Uh-huh.
important part, really.
it makes you think of the movie in a whole different way. They really weren't dumbasses. They just made themselves that way to get rid of the person.
There's really not a whole lot that can be said about Get Out, in my opinion, that hasn't already been said. You know, everybody's been fellating Jordan Peele
Right.
all year. But the one thing about that movie that doesn't get talked about enough is Caleb Landry Jones. Because Caleb Landry Jones deserves all of the recognition for everything. He is the redheaded guy. The younger brother, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my number 9 was Gleason. I don't know if you guys heard anything about that one.
Never heard of it.
So Travis Gleason was a famous, oh man, my sports illiteracy is going to come out here.
That's okay.
Football player, I believe.
Okay.
And he was diagnosed with ALS.
Oh.
And the documentary is in part, you know, just an overall documentary about his struggle with that, but it's also a video diary for his son, who, you know, is never going to get to see his father pass. Like, I don't know, I think he died when he was 3 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's extremely raw. It does not shy away from showing the struggles he faced in very graphic detail.
Wow.
And it's really disturbing and really just, I don't know. It's the best portrait of ALS I've ever seen on film, really.
Wow.
The most authentic. And
That's good.
yeah.
Who's the main actor in that one?
Oh, it's a documentary.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I missed that. I was thinking maybe it was based off of something that actually happened and they...
You know, it's something that actually happened,
wow.
and you get to watch it happen in grueling detail.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting filmmaking. But my number 8 was Christine. Just another one that came a little bit earlier in the year that a lot of people didn't see.
I automatically think Stephen King.
Right, exactly. Rebecca Hall was in it, and Michael C. Hall.
Oh.
And Christine, I think her name is Chubbuck, I believe that's how you say it. It looks like Chubbuck. She was a woman who killed herself on live TV.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And the movie, she shot herself in the face. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mess.
And the movie just kind of follows her as she gets pushed to that point. So.
Oh, that's neat. That's better than fucking 13 Reasons Why.
Probably.
I would say so. If you've ever, well, probably not. You've ever read the book? It's.
Oh no, I haven't read the book. But the book only focuses on a single character.
The book is
that's
better,
different.
I will say, than
Probably.
the actual TV series, which just is very modern.
It's a lot of melodrama.
Very.
Braxton.
Yeah.
You've been very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I know you always are.
Mm-hmm.
Think back, all the movies you saw in theaters, 2017.
Mm.
What was the best one?
What was the best one? Could you narrow down that definition?
Did you enjoy? Did you have fun watching? Did you come out of it thinking, I really liked this movie? Did that ever happen?
I mean, I enjoyed all the ones I saw. I never felt like I needed a refund.
Okay.
Wow.
Would there be one that you'd want to revisit?
No, not really.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to watch any of them again?
Not really. I don't think I would gain anything from doing so.
Well, even not gaining anything, but just liking the experience of having to watch it over again. If not, that's fine. Just.
I'm usually just in it for the story it tells, not for how it makes me feel.
Okay.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Feelings.
Was there one that you saw this year that you were most disappointed by? One that you went in expecting something, but then the story turned out to be crap, or you just came out of it thinking, why did I watch this?
I went a little bit more out Power Rangers, but that was about it.
Wait, didn't you see Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also haven't seen freaking Blade Runner yet, so that's kind of filling that void in my...
Wait, Power Rangers is more disappointing to you than Ghost in the Shell?
Until I see
That's
Blade
what I'm
Runner.
thinking.
Okay. Did you see the original Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
That's pretty much the only reason I
Wow.
like it at the moment is because, like, hey, it's doing those things.
Yeah.
I know that thing.
Mhm. Michael Pitt was really good in that movie. That's really the only thing I can say that was positive.
There's an interesting question. Have you ever seen Michael Pitt deliver a bad performance?
The question is, would I acknowledge it? No, I don't. I've seen him deliver mediocre performances before, because he's been in a lot of stuff where the script has been bad. But he still makes that enjoyable for me, just because he's Michael Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caleb Landry Jones is my new Michael Pitt.
Oh.
So Michael Pitt did, small things for a long time, and still, is in small parts. But Caleb Landry Jones is doing the same thing, same kind of career trajectory.
All right.
A lot of stuff that's getting ignored. I mean, this year, 2017, he was in 3 Billboards. He was in Twin Peaks. He was in the Florida Project.
Oh, wow.
And he was in Get Out.
Wow.
So.
Holy shit.
Yeah, good year for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Actually,
wow.
maybe a quarter of my 3 Billboards review is dedicated to Caleb Landry Jones.
So what's your number 8 then?
Okay, well, my number 8 was Christine.
Oh, okay.
But my number 7 was Gore Verbinski's A Cure for Wellness.
Oh.
Which, I love that movie.
That
I
was
loved Dane
so
DeHaan.
bizarre and wonderful.
It was.
I loved it.
I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I love that movie so much.
My number 6 was Good Time, which there are 2 Twilight stars in my top 10.
What?
Wow.
And this is one of them.
Real?
Robert Pattinson in
Oh.
his best performance ever.
Yeah, that's like he's like the criminal, and there's like the paint all over.
Wow.
it.
Yeah, he's the his younger brother has some kind of a developmental disorder, and Robert Pattinson's sort of a sociopath, and he's trying to break his brother out of prison because he kind of took the fall for a
That's
crime that
right.
he had
That's
done.
right.
Huh.
Yeah,
I've heard
It is.
really good things.
the opening and closing of that movie it's heartbreaking and emotional and really, really smart. And it's actually the director, I believe, who is in the part of the disabled brother.
Oh.
And his performance is probably better than Robert Pattinson's,
Yeah.
but Pattinson gets more screen time, and he's still fantastic.
And as much as you like to crap on Twilight, you gotta admit that obviously it's not their fault, and they know it. It's not their fault. It was the script that they were given. It's not the
They
actor's
actually had a
fault.
lot of creative license to act the way that they wanted. That was their decision to act that way.
I've always heard them say differently, like in interviews and stuff like that.
Of course they're going to say that now to save face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they were just too young. If you look at their career
I guess I
trajectory,
didn't think
early
of them
Kristen
that
Stewart
young.
stuff is better than like early Robert Pattinson stuff. But
Mhm.
Robert Pattinson, he did a bunch of terrible movies after Twilight, and then they slowly got better. And the same is
He redeemed
true.
himself.
The same is true with Kristen Stewart.
I
so-
will agree with that. You know.
Yeah, especially with the personal shopper, which I assume is on your list.
Oh, it is on my list. So number 5 is Mother,
Mother.
which
Uh-huh.
of course
Still haven't seen
love
it yet,
that.
but
It's
I'd love
Aronofsky.
to.
Of course, I loved it. Number 4 is Your Name, which I saw with Luke.
Yes. Oh, that was so
Yeah,
good.
that one
Your
was
Name, what
Your
was
It's
Name.
anime. It's
Yes.
amazing.
So, you know what Freaky Friday is, right?
Yeah,
The
of
body
course.
swap
Yeah.
concept. It's like that, except done very well.
Oh.
I really don't want to say any more.
Yeah,
We need to watch this together. You will love
would
this
love it.
movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright, I like it. I like this whole concept of it being anime and Freaky Friday mixed together, but better.
Mhm.
That sounds
Yes.
wonderful.
So my number 3 is Killing of a Sacred Deer,
Oh
and that's Yorgos Lanthimos, this Greek director I've been watching since Dogtooth.
I think I remember you saying something
yeah.
about that.
He's
Refresh
been
my
talking
memory.
about it for a
Yeah.
while.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, for sure. I was
Refresh my memory and also the audience's memory what this movie's about.
okay. So Minnie Joel Edgerton, and Colin Farrell are in it, and Minnie Joel Edgerton has, I believe his father dies on the operating table, and Colin Farrell is the surgeon who was just a little bit drunk while operating.
Oh.
So Minnie Joel Egerton kind of blackmails him and tells him, your entire family is going to suffer and die unless you choose one of them to kill. And he doesn't believe him at first, and there's no actual cause for anything that's going on, any illnesses, but they just randomly get better and get worse throughout the movie, and till finally he has to make a choice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's all I can say.
It's a lot like The Lobster for people who saw that. Same
I
director.
really wanted to, but I never got the chance to because I'd heard two different sides of the coin that it was really good.
Well,
It's
The Lobster
worth
has
watching.
tons
really
of mixed
meh.
reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to
For
think
sure.
of it, but I'd still love to see it.
Most of it's the dialogue. So the dialogue is that very bland,
Oh.
dry kind of dialogue.
Definitely heard that.
Which in The Lobster is done to comedic effect. In Killing of a
Mhm.
Sacred Deer, it's done to build suspense. So
Okay.
it's really interesting seeing him in an English language film move towards suspense.
Cool.
Yeah. But number 2 is Personal Shopper, which Olivier says.
I need to
That's
watch
his
that.
best
It's on my
film.
list now, ever since you
Yeah.
told me
Uh-huh.
about it. Because that sounds wonderful, and I loved reading your little article about it on your
Mhm.
website, too. That was really good. I enjoyed it. It almost felt like I was watching it, too. You know, just by you describing it.
Mhm.
It was just written very well.
And it's something that you can talk about it all you want. You can describe every little thing about it, and it doesn't really take away from the experience itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But my number 1 is Blade Runner 2049, of course.
Oh, no, we couldn't see that coming.
Yeah, I've been raving about that movie all year.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I finally rewatched it since I got the Blu-ray. I watched it with my dad, and we both he enjoyed it, and it totally holds up on repeat viewing. It is
Yes, it
fantastic, just fantastic.
Still have yet to see it, and I really, really want to, because I skipped out on it to see My Little Pony the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad choice.
I bought the cup.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time watching My Little Pony.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. So,
So what
Did
was
you
your
see that
favorite
one,
of the
Brax?
year?
No.
What was your favorite of the year?
favorite movie of the year. Okay.
No more interest in it?
Mine isn't
Ever since I
anything
moved
that.
Oh. Really?
Mine isn't really anything that I don't know if you've had a chance to look at. It's a horror movie from 2017 that I really liked. It's Raw.
Oh yes, I've seen Raw. I enjoyed Raw.
I
That
love
almost made my top 10.
that
was
movie.
right below. Get Out.
That is right up here. It
Oh.
is one of my favorites. It is just this coming of age story that has to do with cannibalism, and it's just, I love it. I love it so much, and it's oddly romantic too, and I really like it. And I'm like, aw.
And then you have that strange ending.
So you said you had a worst of list.
I do have a worst of. Before we do that, did you have a favorite of the year?
Oh, sorry.
Well, Blade Runner, of course,
Yeah.
is very high,
Mm-hmm.
but I also thoroughly enjoyed Disaster Artist.
Oh, I still need to
So
see
that's
it.
movie.
Oh.
I'm so
It
mad
was-
you ditched me to see it.
I
I don't
know.
blame you. I don't blame you.
I remember I was working that day, and I was like,
Yeah,
fuck.
I know.
Just
I
so
skipped. I
bad.
skipped out on Kami's birthday party and everything, but
Great party, by the way.
I'm sure it was. But I just couldn't pass this up, and it was just oh my god, it just I love the backstory. I love the interaction between the characters. I love how they play on the fact that nobody knows anything about Tommy Wiseau's life,
Mhm.
and that he is so secretive of everything. It's amazing that he was, on the set for this, that he allowed them to say these things.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
There's this scene where Seth Rogen's character goes to cash one of his checks from filming The Room, and he's really skeptical, and he goes up to the banker, and he's just like, all right, see if there's anything in this, and he's like, all right, you're good. It cleared? And the banker leans forward. He said, confidentially, this account is like a bottomless pit.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think of Dave Franco?
Pause.
I don't feel like he really needed to act.
That's a fair point.
He was playing the naive kid
Mm-hmm.
through the whole thing. I mean, he has moments, and at the end where he has to convince Tommy to accept the fact that his movie is perceived as a comedy and embrace that. There is definitely like drama and tension and growth in the character, but for the most part, he really didn't. I didn't feel like he needed to do much, which worked for him. Yeah. Has Dave Franco done anything else?
Yes. Nothing that you would have heard of, I think.
Okay.
I would have to look it up, but I'm not going to right
Yeah,
now.
that's fine. Doesn't matter.
I know I've seen him in other things, and I'm sure James Franco has shoehorned him into other parts.
Right.
In the the independent movies he does, in contrast to the mainstream ones. His little auteur projects, like redoing, what was that?
The Interview?
No, Of Mice and Men.
It
wasn't Of Mice and Men. Oh, what was that? It's a famous book. It's that same kind of time period.
Grapes of Wrath?
No. As I Lay Dying.
Oh.
Yeah. James Franco did a version of that where he starred in it.
I didn't.
I mean, he does that.
Yeah.
Every other
It's gonna
movie.
sound very ignorant, but I didn't know that was the name of a book. Nor did I know that that book existed.
You knew the band, didn't you?
I liked the band. That's what I used to listen to in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's named after a work of literature.
Got it. That's nice. I know I told you
You
it
know
was
that
gonna
now.
sound ignorant because I
Knowledge
didn't
is
know.
power.
But there are scenes in this movie that I feel further lend credence to XKCD's theory that Tommy Wiseau is B.D. Cooper. It just makes sense.
Okay. I'll have to see it.
All right.
Alright, so my 10th worst movie of the year.